We talk about the tragic loss of life a great deal on this channel, and some of the darkest cases involve a child losing their life. But the story of Ka Yang is by far one of the darkest tales you will ever hear about. On March 17th of 2011, one of the most gruesome murders took place in the town of Sacramento, California. On that day, 26-year-old mother Ka Yang would end up taking her 7-week-old daughter, place her in the microwave, and cook her alive. This is the story of Ka Yang, and the case of the mother who cooked her child alive. By all accounts, Ka Yang seemed like a pretty run-of-the-mill mother. By age 26, she had 3 children, all boys, and had been hoping to add a little girl to the family. So, when little Mirabelle Thao-Lo was born, families say Yang was happier than could be. She finally had the daughter that she had always wanted, trying for 2 years to conceive. Having a child is a challenge, even in the best of cases. So having 4 children would make for a stressful life, even for couples ready and planning for every child. Yang worked for a local architectural firm and was seemingly stressed trying to catch up on work on the day of the murder. Yang would only be alone with her 7-month-old daughter for a total of 11 minutes. But it was during those 11 minutes that the unthinkable would happen. The stress from work, her newborn, and her other children would culminate in Yang taking actions to silence the crying child in an attempt to gain some peace and quiet to be able to continue her work. For whatever reason, Yang would take little Mirabelle, place her inside the microwave oven in the family's kitchen. She would then close the door, set the heat to high, and activate the microwave. The child spending nearly 5 minutes cooking to her death. When police made it onto the scene, they found the child covered in burns from head to toe. But there was no obvious source for the burns that they observed. Upon inspection of the home, however, police would find a melted pacifier inside the microwave. Detectives in the case would hear a separate story from Yang, though. The mother telling them that she had suffered a seizure while holding the baby and coming to only to find the child lying next to a space heater, trying to explain away her injuries. Yang did in fact have a history of seizures, but the injuries to her baby did not match up with her story. When the forensics did not support her initial claims, Yang would admit that she had lied to detectives and noted that she might have a split personality. When Yang was confronted about the melted pacifier in the microwave, however, she would admit to placing her baby in the microwave, setting it to high, and hitting start, a move that would slowly fry the child from the inside out. It would later be revealed that Mirabelle had burns covering 60% of her body. A pathologist would later note that the radiation from the microwave cooked the child's stomach and small intestine, the damage being consistent with microwave exposure. The same pathologist would make it clear that the baby would have suffered from unimaginable pain throughout the exposure. The prosecution in the murder case would eventually lay the blame wholly on Yang, telling the jury that the mother placed the child in the microwave not due to the seizure she had claimed, but because the child was being irritable and fussy and keeping Yang from completing her work. Yang's court-appointed attorney would note that there was no motive in this case and claimed that her client had severe mental health issues which led to the tragic incident. She stated, "I think there is no question there is clearly some psychological issues that will have to be investigated."
The child sustained unusual and rare thermal burns. The investigation revealed that these burns were consistent with only 3 other cases in this country with the same similar type injuries, and that was determined those injuries occurred as a result of being burned in a microwave oven.
Ka Yang is being held without bail on suspicion of murder. The baby's death actually took place in March, but it took investigators months to determine the exact cause of death. Her neighbors were shocked.
It was just unbelievable. It's mind-boggling, something you would hear in a horror story.
Neighbors said the 29-year-old seemed like a typical mother.
She seemed really nice. The husband's really nice. Every time I mow the lawn, he'll come out and we'll always talk. I know they're church members, so...
Police don't know the motive for the crime, but said if a mother doesn't want a child, there are places to drop them off, no questions asked.
They take them to a firehouse or even a hospital, and then that child gets the love and attention in a family that they really deserve.
Yang has 3 other children, all boys, who are now staying with relatives.
And while Yang did have a history of seizures starting at the age of 14, it was difficult for the jury to buy any such defense after Yang lied to investigators and clearly remembering what actually took place. In the United States, there have only ever been 3 other cases of a child being injured in a microwave, with only 2 of them ever being fatal. Young Mirabelle's death was incredibly painful. The child not even having the capability to understand the unimaginable pain that she was feeling as she cooked from the inside for those few minutes. For her part, Yang was sentenced to 26 years to life in prison, being found guilty of first-degree murder and assault on a child. She will serve out her sentence without the possibility of parole.